What it do? As one of my homegirls say, what it do, kangaroo? Alright, so let's get started, y'all. Anyone who knows me or who's known me a long time knows that I'm a big Batman fan. I've fallen off in recent years, but I really fucks with Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins because there's so many valuable lessons that can be applied to life. And one of my favorites has always been when Rachel shares some wisdom with Bruce Wayne. I'll let y'all hear it for yourselves.
Bruce, deep down you may still be that same bright kid you used to be. But it's not who you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you.
Now, I've always added on to that how you do what you do is just as important as what you do. And I sometimes use this nugget as a metric for if I'm acting in line with my values. In Bruce's case, he was just wild and acting a whole rich, single white man fool. And this was the wake-up call he needed to become something bigger and greater. And recently, my therapist dropped a little truth and wisdom bomb on me. And it's helped me to be more effective in doing the things that I believe define me. So shortly after returning to work from a 2-month furlough during the pandemic, I found myself really emotional about the amount of time and energy I was putting into my career. And I began to feel like I was missing out on something, but I couldn't really put my finger on what it was or why. So I spoke to my therapist about it, and I told her what I was going through, and she was able to illuminate for me that I was trying to do too much in too many different areas of my life. I was draining myself, and I was beginning to become resentful of certain people and responsibilities and whatnot. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in being strong and super responsible and trying to be everything to everybody that we forget that we're not made to give 100% of ourselves to every role in our lives. I was trying to put 100% of myself into being a mother, 100% of myself into being a newly promoted manager, 100% of myself into being a girlfriend, and so on and so on. My therapist often asks me if something is sustainable, and the answer is almost invariably no. And that was the case in this scenario. Once again, she was right. So she recommended something for me that I'm going to go ahead and share with y'all, and I hope that it's helpful. She recommended that I create a pie chart that would represent how much of myself I will put into the important roles in my life. I called this the emotional pie chart back then, but I've gone ahead and I've changed the name to the role and responsibility pie chart, even though it doesn't have the same ring to it. The idea is to list out all of your roles and assign a percentage of yourself to each one until it adds up to 100%. So I'm going to share the process that I went through, and I hope that it'll be helpful to someone else out there. So first things first, I listed the important roles and responsibilities in my life. For me, those things were mother, professional, friend, family, girlfriend, and other. Other things that can be included are things like citizen, if it's really important that you have civic engagement, student, if you're in school, and so on and so forth. I only made my list of the roles that are forefront in my life and most important to me. Then I threw in other for all the things that are less important, but still make up who I am. The second step is by far the hardest. You have to keep in mind you only have 100% to give, so you got to choose wisely how you'll divide up your energy. It's a real mindfuck when you realize, and you have to admit, that you can't put 100% of yourself into parenting. If you got any other roles in your life, that's not healthy to have that expectation for yourself or for anyone. So I went ahead and I divided up my 100%. Now here's the real raw truth. I had this conversation with my therapist in late July, and maybe it was early August. Today is mid-October, and I'm just officially dividing my pie. I'm not going to lie, this shit's hard, but I didn't want to rush the process, and to be honest, just remembering that I can't give 100% of myself to each thing was helpful for me at first. Now, I'll share the link to my chart on the podcast site and on the social media pages so that y'all can see what I came up with. So the final step is just keeping the pie chart and your role breakdown top of mind. Extending grace to yourself. When you find yourself getting worn thin and overwhelmed by any one aspect of your life, you've got to give yourself grace. And my therapist talks to me about that a lot. As usual, I don't want to purport that I've got this shit completely down packed. I don't. But I can say that being able to reference back to the fact that I can't give 100% of myself to everyone in every role in my life is enough to help me feel a little bit better about things. I have to remember this perspective, and hopefully it'll be helpful for you too. So that's it. For y'all struggling to put 100% of yourself into each aspect or role in your life, I think it's important that I let you in on a little secret. It's because you aren't supposed to put 100% of yourself into each aspect or role of your life. Keep this top of mind. You've only got one strong 100% of you to give. And if you fall, remember, it's only so you can learn to pick yourself back up. Go ahead, get your pie, and eat it too.